Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to Modern Mining. Today, I'm gonna be showing you guys how to build the wooden mining rig frames that I build. And altogether, the cost is only around $25 for a 6 GPU rig. And you only need a couple household tools that you guys probably already have. You'll need a circular saw, tape measure, something to mark your wood with. Liquid nails is not a necessity, but it definitely makes the frame more rigid. So I've started using this in all my builds. And then some sort of brad nailer, and obviously some nails for your brad nails. I didn't count the tools into that $25 price range. That's just the materials themselves. So let's get into how to build this thing. The rig I'm making today is basically going to be an exact copy of this one right here. It's going to be the perfect width for 4 fans and 6 GPUs and enough depth so that your power supplies can sit down in there real nicely. And in a future video, I'll show me building out this rig for this client who's buying one. But this video today will just be on the frame. So I don't actually have the measurements saved anywhere. So I'm just gonna measure off this one and then build a new one, and I'll draw it all out for you guys so you can pause the video, and if you want to use those measurements, you can build one yourself. Unfortunately, I don't know how to use CAD, or I would definitely model something up for you guys. Maybe there's somebody out there who's good enough with CAD who could quickly make a file for everybody, but all right, let's see what this measures. All right, this is far from professional, but the big thing is this number and this number, because you want to be able to screw a GPU into this and have it sit flush on the support bar. So obviously both of these posts have another piece of wood on top of them, but those are the measurements of the vertical pieces that you're gonna cut. And then the depth is 17 inches and the width across. This is just the baseboard, and then we'll attach our sideboards on the edge of that. You'll see shortly, so that's 24 inches. It's about the best I can give you guys. I'm not a draftsman. If you buy a 2 foot by 2 foot board, then this is already gonna be 2 feet across. Now we just need the depth to be 17 inches. So let's measure that out. Okay, that's good enough. Now we need to cut this. I'm just gonna do it on this table. I want to get all that dust off there so it's not doesn't end up getting sucked up into your GPUs, even though I got a whole bunch of GPUs right there. So we're just going to build this as we go. So now I'm going to put a board like this on either side, like this on either side, put glue and nail the whole thing. So these side ones will be a little bit longer than the actual base itself to account for the thickness of the board that's going right here. So what we'll do first is just measure these long ones and cut those. The exact length should be right at 2 feet. It's actually slightly shorter, so 23 inches and 7/8. This should be the exact same, but let's double check. 23 inches and 7/8. So we'll just lay this out. We'll cut one, and then we'll just put that on top and cut the other so they're the exact same width. Okay, now we'll just take this and lay our board on top of it. So we're getting the exact same length. And then we'll just go ahead and cut it again. Now we have our 2 long pieces. And you'd rather have them slightly short than slightly long, but these are just about perfect. So now we'll measure here to get our sideboards. And really, we might as well go ahead and put these on real quick. One tool I forgot to mention that you'll need is just a caulk gun. So you don't need a ton here. My hole in this gun's probably too big. It also doesn't need to be 100% of the way. Okay. So we will press that up against, and then we'll put some nails in it. Okay, first side done. Let's flip it around. Put our glue. Like I mentioned, the glue is not necessarily needed, but it definitely does make it more sturdy in the end, so might as well use it. Okay, let's measure our ends now. So that looks like 18 3/8. Let's see how straight my cut was. 18 3/8, nice. So that looks good. Let's cut those real quick. We'll see if 2 of those 8-foot boards is enough. I have extras, and if I end up needing to use another one, then I'll calculate that into the cost. So what did I say, 18 3/8. I think we're definitely probably gonna need 3, but it's okay. Make sure it's straight. Cut your second. And we're gonna do the same thing on this side. Glue and a few nails to hold it on there. And then once these are up, we'll put our verticals in these corners so that we can nail, glue, and the bottom as well. And it should be super secure because these are what take basically the most force. Watch your angles when you're doing this. I had 2 nails pop through. So I'm probably gonna pry those up because the last thing you wanna do is short your motherboard. So just get some snips. Same with this one. Okay. I might even put a little bit of glue just over those so there's just no risk of shorts at all. And you know what? I'm also gonna put some into these side walls. That's still got a little bit of play in it, so. Okay, that's much sturdier. So flip this around. This liquid nails is really old, so it's not spreading very well. There we go. Okay, let's put some nails in there. That one must have hit a knot and kicked way to the side. We'll just snip it. No big deal. Trying to make sure I don't lose any of those screw or those nail ends and end up popping a tire in the garage. That wouldn't be fun. Okay, so we've got the base completed now, and this is where we're gonna use those measurements I showed you earlier for the back support and then the taller front support. Then we'll put a beam across and the GPUs will just sit across the whole thing. So it looks like we need 1 foot 1/4 inch and 7 inch 3/4. So these two 7 inch 3/4 and these two the taller ones. And then we'll glue them, nail them into all the corners and start working on the beams that go across them. For these beams, you wanna make sure you get a level cut because you're gonna have boards resting across the top. So if it's crooked like that, then that's gonna make the board crooked. So I'm gonna recut this end. This is the stock end, so it's nice and straight. Got all my cuts. We'll have this be the front and this be the back. And we'll have boards going lengthwise like that. So let's go ahead and glue these guys in, I like to just put a little glue. Can kind of load it up in these areas, a little bit on each side, and just get it in there. And one other tool that's helpful here is a speed square, just so you can get that on there and then nail when you know that it's good looking. So let's see, put these bad boys back on. Okay, that's pretty sturdy. Now, honestly, you can also do one from the bottom. I haven't done this before, but I don't see why you wouldn't. Okay. And you can see that is, give it a little, give it a little push, then it's square. That's fine though, we can always pull it when we screw it in or nailed into the other one. You can see I've got a couple little nails sticking out, so I'm just gonna cut those off. Now we'll do this other side. I'm using 1 1/2 inch, but you could probably get away with shorter and not have as many sticking out like I've been having. And honestly, it looks like the ones I'm using are actually longer than 1 1/2 inch. So definitely use the 1 1/2 inch. If you're not using Ryobi, then you probably won't have to snip these nails off. Mine's just not pushing them in far enough, so I've got to snip them off so you're not getting cut on them and that kind of stuff. Okay, let's work on these last two. Same exact process. If you weren't filming a video, you could probably knock out one of these in under an hour. And really, you're not saving too much money versus just buying, like, I think a metal frame on eBay right now is like 40 bucks, and this one was like, what did I say, 25 bucks, and then it'll probably end up being 30 if we have to use a third piece of wood. So you're saving 10 bucks, which the time it takes to make already makes it probably not financially smart. But like I mentioned in the past, I like the wood frames because they're customizable. You can put the GPUs wherever you want. You can make them whatever size you want. And Croupman was making fun of me, saying that one day I'm gonna have just an attic filled with a bunch of old GPU frames when I finally switch to server cases. And I said, hey, well, at least I can burn these since they're out of wood. His attic was all filled with metal ones. So that's another benefit. You can burn them when you're done with them. Next step, we're going to cut our lengthwise board the exact length of our frame on the bottom, and that way it'll pull these plumb perfectly straight. It'll pull them so they're straight, and then we'll also cut vertical boards the exact length right here. I should have wrote that down, but I'll just measure it again. So those are those. And we are indeed gonna need a third board. So we'll go ahead and put these on first. And you can see these are definitely not plumb. So I'll pull them together when I nail these in. This is also probably a good thing of doing it while the nail or while the glue is still wet. So line that up on this side. Ooh. Next one, I'll put a little dab of glue under. I forgot to do that. Shouldn't be a big deal. A little dab of glue, and then I'll pull these together. Starting to look a little bit like a GPU frame. Now we just need to put our crossbars across here, and then our last bar across the back for support. At the end of this, I'll do a full board count of how many of each cuts you need, so you don't have to keep cutting throughout the whole process. You can just cut all your boards and then go to start building. So the reason why we cut these so exact, even though nothing sits on this, is because if we put this level right there, then a bar across that is going to be the perfect height for your GPU to sit on and be on this bar. So that's why we care so much about keeping that one the correct height. So I'm going to just send a nail through that if I can, in that exact location. Watch your thumb here. Scared you. So now, I forgot to mention you also need a level, so a few more tools than I originally said, but that's okay. And let's get this totally level. And then send some nails in through here. Same thing over here, get that exactly level with that side, and then send a nail through it. Don't be scared to add a bunch of nails to these, because these are the ones that are going to be holding up the actual load of the GPUs. So there we go. And these shorter nails are a lot better because I'm not having any poke through on the other side. Wife's home. Last board we need to cut, and this one's actually different length than any one we've cut so far. All right, so 3 8-foot sections is the exact amount that you need. For this last board, what I like to do to decide where to put it is to actually go grab a GPU and set it on here to make sure my height's good and to make sure that I can put this where it's like in the center of the riser. So let me grab a GPU real quick. Just got my little 2-fan 3060 Ti. Let's put a riser on that. And let's see if the height is good. Beautiful. Look at that. Don't even have to screw it. So I'll move this board until it's like in the middle of the riser on both sides. That's good enough. And then I'll go ahead and nail that into one side. So now we'll just judge this. And there you have it. A 6 GPU frame for a total of $30 in about an hour's time. What you can do now is zip tie some fans together and just screw them into this post right here. So if you want to attach fans, you just screw in, zip tie your fans together, and then power those with your motherboard. And that is going to be the finished looking product. Lastly, I'll show you all the cuts. So maybe don't go exactly off these, kind of work through the way I did, but you'll need 4 23 7/8, 2 18 1/4, 2 17 inch, you get the point. And the base is 23 7/8 by 17 inches. There it is. Maybe someone can model this bad boy up in CAD, and I'll see you guys next time.